So there's a variety of different types of talk boxes on the market, and aside from talk boxes, you've got vocoders, you've got humanizers. So this chapter is all about trying to define the differences and have a look at how to use each one of them. Talkbox for guitar started to emerge around the mid-1960s, but it wasn't until 1973 when Bob Heil introduced his model, the Heil Talkbox, that it started to really sort of gain some notoriety. Peter Frampton was one of the first players to become synonymous with the sound of the talkbox, although more recently you've got Richie Sambora on Living on a Prayer, Joe Walsh on Rocky Mountain Way, and also the Foo Fighters using the talkbox in Generator. So let's have a look at some different talkbox effects and see how it works. The original talkboxes were a fairly cumbersome setup in that they had to be set up between the amp head and the speaker box, or alternatively routed to an external speaker. The newer talkboxes, such as this Rocktron Banshee, actually have their own amplifier built into them, so they amplify the sound rather than running through your own amplifier. So how does it work? Basically, my guitar signal is running to the input of the talkbox. From there, it's running into a speaker that is built into the box here. So it's got a tiny little speaker, about a 5-inch speaker, and basically that speaker sends the signal through this plastic tube. The plastic tube in turn comes up next to the microphone, and I feed the sound from the guitar basically into my mouth, and then I modulate the sound, which is then picked up by the microphone. So it works in a similar process to if you're listening to music and then you start cupping your ears, and you can hear how the sound modulates by just moving your hands in and out from your ears. So I'm able to make vowel sounds and other interesting noises by modulating my mouth, and it's all picked up from the microphone. So the original Heil talkboxes, which incidentally I used to have one of the original ones, basically they were amplified from your guitar head. So the risk this posed was if you run too much volume into them, you risked blowing up the speaker in the little box. So some of the more modern day talkboxes basically have a lesser risk of that happening because they have their own built-in amplifier. So this one here has a gain control, and it's got an output so I can control the overall level, and a tone control so I can control the tone of the actual talkbox. So let's just have another listen to that again. So with it off, it's just my dry guitar signal. But when I turn the pedal on, I don't know whether you can hear that, but the sound is then routed through to the tube here, and that's where I can start to modulate it. And then I can modulate the actual tone itself. So, it's good as an alternative to using, say, a pedal wah. It just gives you a distinctive tone. And, it's, aside from everything, it's just really a lot of fun. Main thing is to regularly clean out the tube, because you do get a lot of spit coming down the tube. So take the tube and give it a good shake and let it dry out between uses so that it doesn't all get running into the actual talkbox itself. Over the last few years, an effect that has become more and more prominent with effects manufacturers is the Humanizer. And the Humanizer is kind of like a cross between a talkbox and an auto wah. So heading back to the Boss AW3 here, you can see that we've got Humanizer mode. So aside from being able to do auto wah sounds, it can also do Humanizer sounds. So I've got it in Humanizer mode, and here you'll notice that basically I've got vowel 1 and vowel 2. So I can set an A-E-I-O-U type sound with each knob, and I can basically have it toggling between the two. So the decay knob dictates how long between vowel sounds. So just have a quick listen to this. So basically I'm toggling between an I and an A sound, and the decay is dictating how long. I'll turn it down to its minimum. So it's almost skipping straight away to the other vowel sound. I'll go to its longest value. Now, I'll just change that back to about 12 o'clock, and let's just have a listen to a few different vowel shapes. Change from an E to a U. So there's a lot of different variations between setting up the two different vowels. Before we wrap up this chapter on talkboxes, I just wanted to have a quick look at vocoders, because talkboxes and vocoders are often confused, although they work in two totally different ways. They sound similar, although the talkbox, as we saw, is the sound of my guitar basically run into a speaker, and then it's captured from a microphone via my mouth. A vocoder works by synthesis, so you need two signals. You need a carrier signal, which in this case will be my guitar, and then a modulator signal, which I'll use my voice for. Now the difference is where the talkbox, if I talk into the mic as I'm modulating the sound, you'll hear the sound of my voice in the pitch that I'm talking, as well as the sound of the guitar. The vocoder will play the pitch of what I'm playing from the carrier, in this case the guitar, via my voice. So I can be singing totally out of tune, but it will only play the notes that I'm playing on the guitar. So here's an example. I'll play an open, say an A minor chord, and have a listen to my voice. F. So hear how my voice took on the pitches of what I was playing. You didn't hear the guitar, you heard my voice being synthesized, but it took on the pitch of whatever I was playing on guitar. So it's got a really interesting tone, and you can set up full harmonies with your voice by playing full chords. So it's basically harmonizing with every single note in the chord. So that's where a vocoder is different. You don't see a lot of vocoders around nowadays for guitar applications. I'm lucky enough to have a couple, but in general, they're not a common effect for using live.